We've done it again. We've done it again. There's another incredible advancement coming to native PHP. I think this will be another like headline feature of V2. What is it? What can you do with it? How does it work? Every time we want to add something new, we've got to add something to our PHP extension. We've got to add methods. We've got to add all of this complex logic so that we can have it do native things. Wouldn't it be great if we could just have like a pipe from PHP that just funnels stuff through to the native side? And the answer is yes, it would be great. Up until now, I didn't really think it was possible. But today, just today, like the last few hours, I figured out how to do it. And it's great. And I can show you, no, I can tell you about how great it's going to be. It's worth sticking around for. Right, we've got this new thing that we do have to compile into PHP, into our extension, called native PHP call. It receives a function name and then a bunch of parameters. And both of those things are just strings. That gives us a channel for us to pipe information through to the native side. And you can kind of think of this like, it's like a HTTP request, but it's really not. We're saying what function we want to call. So that's kind of like get and your URL, or if it was a post with a body, and it's almost identical to that. So massively simplified and way quicker because it's not going over the network. It's not doing all that HTTP stuff. That's great. So we're opening the door to all this cool stuff. We can build native functions without having to recompile PHP every time we want to add something new. Let's have a look at how it actually works. When we call that, it's going to call some native code with those parameters. But the native code that it calls is not directly the function that you're trying to execute. It's calling into this bridge router, and that receives these parameters, the function name and the parameter blob, and breaks it down and figures out how to call the right function and pass all of that in and handle errors and all of that kind of thing. So this is all super great. What does it look like when you're trying to use it? On the one side, when you want to just call a native function now, you can do it in a very, very simple way. And we're going to have a look at one of those ways. So we have this new pending alert class, which is really just a wrapper around the old alert functionality that we had. Instead of calling the original native PHP _ alert function that our extension exposes, it now calls native PHP call. And we can see that with just a few simple parameters, this is going to call a completely dynamic function. So the native side is where all of the work is happening. Without going into too much detail here, basically what it's going to do is find the function that we've called for and pass in the parameters to it. So let's have a look at one of those. So this is our dialog functions enum, which is how we're going to call our dialog functions. And then we just create classes that abide by a certain protocol, which in Swift is essentially like an interface. So we're saying that these classes will all abide by this bridge function protocol. And that enforces that they have to have this execute method, and they will receive the parameters as an array of strings. And it's then the duty of the function to break that down, to understand its own parameters. Super flexible. So now we can add and take away parameters as we see fit. We can restructure the whole set of the parameters, and we can do all sorts of smart things with them. We can add as many functions as we like, very, very quickly and very, very easily. All you have to do is come up with a name, as long as it's unique, and then tie it to a method. And it's mapped into here by its name from this function registration. This is like the roots file, like roots/web.php, but just for functions. So you'd register your function names here, and you tie them to a specific function call. Because we're registering it as a class here into this registry, then when we pull it out of the registry by name, we can just execute the class and run our function. It's really, really cool. It's very, very flexible. What does this mean? For one thing, it means that we can develop native PHP features way faster. It's just a case of adding these functions in each of the native sides and then adding the calling function from the PHP side in the native PHP library. So that's nice and smooth. But the other really exciting benefit, really exciting, I can't overstate it, is you will be able to bring your own native functions. So you'll be able to build some Swift and Kotlin code in your application, in your Laravel application. You might have a directory where you keep those things. We'll pull those into the native application in the right place at the right time and make them available to this pipe. And so then you will be able to call your native functions from your own code without it needing to be a part of native PHP. It's fully extensible. That's what this gives us. It means that you could build packages that you ship to other people that open up new native functionality that's not part of native PHP. It means that you can build stuff that becomes a part of your applications and other people's applications without waiting on us. The sky then is the limit. Yes, it's that amazing. This is incredible. It's just going to work. It's going to work how you want it to work. This unlocks something amazing. And I can't wait to see what people start building with this.